Welcome to my channel Math with Nazia. In today's video we are going to learn Euclid's Lemma. This is a very important part. This is in the real numbers chapter of grade 10. This is a very important topic. Usually you get at least one question from this topic. So let's see how to do this question. Using Euclid's Lemma, find the H.C.F of. So let's find the HCF of the first number, which we have is 255 and 867. We are going to find the HCF of, that is the highest common factor of these two numbers. So by using Euclid's Lemma method, we will also do a long division and we will also write the steps for that. So let me start with the long division first. So since 255 is the smallest number, I will write 255 here. This will be divided with 867. So let's divide this. So we get a 3 here and we get a 765 here and the remainder is 102. So for this step, our first step would be, first point or step number 1, we will write 867 divided with 255. We got a quotient of 3 and a remainder 102. So we will use by Euclid's Division Lemma. I have just written a short form EDL, which is Euclid's Division Lemma. 867 equals 255 times 3 plus 102. I think you get confused writing this. This is pretty easy. See, this is our dividend, this is our divisor, this is the quotient, and this is the remainder. I think we have learnt this in our grade 3 and grade 4, where we used to do as a verification for a long division. Let me write it here. The dividend, DD, dividend equals divisor times quotient plus the remainder. This was the formula which we used in our early stages when we learned the long division. The same thing we are going to do here with the Euclid's Lemma division. The same thing we will write here. But this will be a repeated division. So you can just remember this part and write it here. Now since the remainder is not equal to 0, so our second step is, since the remainder is not equal to 0, we will again divide 255 with 102. Now this 255, which was a divisor here, will become a dividend here. So I will write it here, 255. Now we are going to divide these two numbers. So now the dividend is 255, the divisor has become 102. The remainder earlier became a divisor. So 255 divided by 102, we get it 2. So 102 times 2 is 204. When we subtract these two, we get it as 51. So same thing, since we have got this, our quotient is 2 and the remainder is 51. So by Euclid's Division Lemma, what is our dividend? Right, 255 equals, what was our divisor? 102 times the quotient, which is 2 plus 51. Isn't it easy now? Right, now let's continue the same step again. Now this, let's see the third step. Since the remainder is not equal to 0, what numbers we are going to divide again? We are going to divide 102 and 51. So this will be a repeated division until we get a 0 as a remainder. So now since the remainder is not equal to 0, we are going to divide 102 and 51. We are going to divide 102 divided by 51. So let's do that step here. So 51 times how much is 102? 2. So here it is 102. When we subtract, now we got our remainder as 0. Right? So now here what we will write is, our quotient is, what's our quotient? 2. Our remainder is 0. right? So now we have got our remainder as 0. So since the remainder is 0, our HCF is, so the HCF of 255 and 867 equals 51. The last divisor is always the HCF. So isn't it easy? We are just going to do the repeated division and we are going to use the formula. So you can easily remember dividend equaled divisor times quotient plus remainder. Isn't it easy? Now let's see our second example for today. Now let's see the second example. Now we have to find the HCF using Euclid's lemma method. So the number given to us is 650 and 1170. This question has been asked in 2017 and 18 paper. The same numbers have been asked. So as we could see the exam papers, every year at least one question we get it as Euclid's lemma division method. So it's pretty easy. So let's start doing the division. So the first number is 650, the smallest number. So I'll write 650 and 1170 will be written here. So let's write out the first step, which is since 650 is smaller than 1170, we are going to divide 1170 with 650. So let's see what will be our quotient. So our quotient will be 1, 650. If we subtract this, we get 520. So when we divided these two, our quotient was 1 and the remainder is 520. So let's write by Euclid's division lemma. What do we get? Yes, we will write our dividend, which is 1170, equals our quotient, which is 650, times quotient, sorry, our divisor times quotient plus 520. So let me write here the same thing again. Dividend equals divisor times quotient plus a remainder. So this you can write it anywhere whenever you're doing this question, so that it is easy for you to remember. So this is our first step. So now our second step would be, since the remainder is not equal to 0, now which two numbers are we going to divide? Right, we are going to divide 650, that was the dividend divisor earlier. Now this has become the dividend, will be divided with 520. The remainder has become divisor. So now let's divide this 650. So 520 times 1, 520. Let's subtract this. We get 130. So when we divided 650 with 520, what was our quotient? Our quotient is 1 and the remainder is 130. So now by Euclid's division lemma, which is our dividend, which is 650 equals, yeah, right, this is our divisor times 1, which is our quotient, plus our remainder. So you can simplify this and we'll get the answer of 650. So now the step 3, since the remainder is not equal to 0, let's divide. So which will be our dividend now? Right, so 520 will be our dividend. 520 will be divided with 130. So when we further divide this, 520, 130 times how much is 520? It is 4. So 520 and we get our remainder 0. So here our quotient is our quotient is 4 and our remainder has become 0. So now since the remainder has become 0, we will stop with this. So now the HCF of 650 and 1170 is 130. So this is the highest common factor. So isn't it very easy? We have to do a repeated division and use these steps. We have to do both the things. We have to do even the division and we have to write it even the stepwise. Only then you would get the full marks for it. And remember this was which we have learned in our lower grades. The dividend equals divisor times quotient plus remainder. This will help you out to solve this question. If you have any queries regarding Euclid's lemma, you can comment down in the comment section. And for more tips and tricks, do like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.